Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 isn't just another year, it's your year. And the question I want to ask you today is this: what are you thinking about? Because if you don't control your thoughts will control you. See, we've all been brainwashed by our families, by the media, by our past failures. But what if I told you that the only way to win in 2025 is to brainwash yourself on purpose? Today, I'm going to give you the blueprint to brainwash yourself for success, because you cannot outperform the image you hold of yourself in your own mind. Let's dive in. Success is never an accident. It is the direct result of intentional thinking, belief, and alignment. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, or unworthiness, your outer world will reflect exactly that. Most people are trying to change their lives by changing their behaviors, but real transformation doesn't happen on the surface. It happens at the root, inside the mind, where beliefs are born and nurtured. See, the issue is not that you lack opportunity or talent. The issue is that you've been carrying around a belief system that was never designed to let you win. And the scary part, most of these beliefs were not even chosen by you. They were programmed into you by your parents, your teachers, society, and sadly, most of those people were operating in fear, not faith, scarcity, not abundance, survival, not vision. Now here's the truth: you can't live $1 million life with $100 mindset. You can't build an empire while believing deep down that you're unworthy of success. That's why you have to reprogram your belief system. This is not optional. It's mandatory if you want to step into the fullness of your potential. Reprogramming your beliefs starts with becoming aware of the internal script that's been playing in your head. You've got to stop and ask yourself, whose voice is that telling me I can't do it? Who told me I wasn't smart enough, connected enough, disciplined enough? And more importantly, why did I accept that as truth? Here's what happens when we don't do this work. We subconsciously sabotage every blessing that comes our way. You'll talk yourself out of launching that business. You'll shrink in the presence of opportunity. You'll procrastinate on your dreams and then wonder why your life feels stuck. It's because you're trying to produce fruit from poisoned roots. So to brainwash yourself for success, you've got to dig deep and start planting new seeds of belief. Daily, consistently, with intention. Start declaring over yourself things that seem too big, too bold, too impossible for your old mindset to comprehend. Speak them anyway. Why? Because the brain is always listening. And your subconscious cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's repeated. That means you can literally train your mind to accept success as normal, as expected, as inevitable, but it won't happen by accident. You've got to flood your mind with new truths, new affirmations, new perspectives that stretch your vision and shatter your limitations. You've got to meditate on who you're becoming, not who you've been. You have to make it your business to become obsessed with a future version of yourself that already has the results you desire, and then you walk, talk, and think like that person today. When your belief system shifts, your actions shift automatically. You don't have to force discipline. It becomes natural. You don't have to chase motivation. It flows. Because when you believe you're worthy of wealth, health, influence, or peace, you begin to move differently. You show up with power. You speak with authority. You attract better relationships, bigger doors, and greater favor because you are operating from a place of internal certainty. This is not fake it till you make it. This is faith it till you manifest it. This is about internal alignment before external achievement. The mind must arrive before the body ever will. That means you must live mentally in your success long before your bank account, business, or brand catches up. That's how true leaders move. They lead from the future backward. They don't wait to see it. They speak it, believe it, embody it, and then the world has no choice but to respond. And that kind of power doesn't come from external validation. It comes from inner transformation, from rewiring every lie into truth, every doubt into destiny, every excuse into execution. You begin to make bold decisions not based on where you are, but based on where you're going. You stop asking what if it doesn't work, and start declaring what if it does. You stop focusing on the risks and start building a mind that only sees results. This is the process of reprogramming your belief system, and it's the first most essential step in brainwashing yourself for unstoppable success in 2025 and beyond. The world around you is not neutral. Everything you see, hear, and absorb is either programming you for power or for passivity. If you want to brainwash yourself for success, you've got to understand that the information you allow into your mind becomes the blueprint for your decisions, your self-worth, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. You are not just a product of your work ethic, you are a product of your input. The conversations you engage in, the shows you watch, the music you consume, the advice you entertain, all of it is shaping you whether you realize it or not. You cannot expect to rise into greatness while feeding on mediocrity. You cannot walk in wisdom if your ears are filled with foolishness. Every time you listen to someone speak defeat, doubt, or lack, and you let it enter your subconscious without filtering it, you are giving permission for their belief system to invade yours. This is why you must protect your ear. Gates and I. Gates like your life depends on it, because it does. Every word you hear is a seed, and just like physical seeds, mental seeds eventually grow roots, then fruit. So if you've been hearing, "You're not good enough," "You'll never make it," "People like you don't succeed," don't be surprised if you start living in a way that matches those statements. That's not weakness, that's programming, and programming can be rewritten, but only if you're intentional. The average person listens to negativity for hours every day and calls it entertainment. They soak in sarcasm, doubt, drama, and defeat, then wonder why they can't make a bold move or launch a God-sized vision. That's not a coincidence, that's conditioning. And the moment you decide you're done being conditioned by failure, you've got to detox from everything that feeds it. Turn off the noise that doesn't match your calling. Unfollow accounts that glorify gossip and distractions. Stop listening to broke people trying to give you financial advice. If you wouldn't trade lives with them, stop receiving their opinions like they're gospel truth. You've got to get radical about what you allow into your atmosphere. This isn't about being rude. It's about being ready for your next level, ready to build an environment where faith is natural, excellence is expected, and victory is the default, because what you hear most often, you will begin to believe. And what you believe, you will start to live. That's the power of repetition. It's how we learn language. It's how we memorize music. It's how we develop habits. And it's exactly how you brainwash yourself for success. Flood your environment with the sound of elevation. Let your ears feast on wisdom, strategy, scripture, and truth. Listen to mentors who are already walking in the level you desire. Play audiobooks, messages, or podcasts every single day, not just when you feel like it, but as a discipline. Not because you're weak without them, but because you're sharpening your edge. Fill your car, your morning routine, your downtime with high-level content. Let it drown out the lies that were spoken over you in the past. Replace every "you can't" with a new "I already have." Train your mind to recognize what is false and reject it. When a limiting thought enters your space, don't tolerate it, challenge it, replace it. Speak against it, because the truth is, you become what you behold. If all you behold is dysfunction, fear, scarcity, and failure, your life will shrink to match that. But if you begin to behold possibility, progress, impact, abundance, and wisdom, your mind expands and your choices follow. People will call you extreme. They'll say, It's not that serious, but listen, if you want average, think average. If you want ordinary, consume what everyone else is consuming. But if you're called to be a builder, a multiplier, a finisher, a leader, then you've got to develop a mind that refuses to digest anything beneath your purpose. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your intake. You're either consuming content that pulls you forward or content that pulls you back. There is no in between. So in 2025, if you're serious about success, get serious about guarding what enters your soul through your senses. Discipline your ears to only hear faith. Discipline your eyes to only see opportunity. Create an atmosphere where your future feels familiar and your destiny becomes louder than your distractions. That's how leaders are built, not just by what they produce in public, but by what they protect in private. Your future is not determined by chance. It's determined by decisions. And the most powerful decision you can make in 2025 is to upgrade your self-talk. Because while other people's voices may influence you, your voice defines you. The conversation you have with yourself when no one is watching will either sabotage your purpose or ignite it. Most people think the enemy is external, circumstances, competitors, critics, but the real battle is internal. It's in the silent whispers you repeat to yourself, often unconsciously, that say, "I'm not ready. I always mess things up. I'm too late. I'm not like them." And the more you say it, the more you shape your identity around it. Your self-talk is not harmless. It is creating your reality one thought, one sentence, one internal agreement at a time. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. And identity is crafted through repetition. The things you say about yourself, even in passing, even as a joke, are writing the story of your life. You call yourself lazy, you stay lazy. You call yourself broke, you remain broke. You say you're unlucky, and you start overlooking every blessing that's been placed in front of you. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation bias. Your brain is looking to validate whatever you repeatedly say and believe. It filters out anything that doesn't match your internal narrative. That's why two people can walk into the same opportunity. One wins, one loses. It's not about skill, it's about story. It's about what each person has been telling themselves about who they are and what they're capable of. And here's the truth. Most of us were never taught to speak life over ourselves. We were taught to be realistic, to be humble, to not get too big-headed, but that kind of thinking is not humility itself. Sabotage dressed up as caution. There's nothing noble about downplaying your greatness. There's nothing honorable about agreeing with fear just because it's familiar. If you want to brainwash yourself for success, you've got to become your own loudest encourager. You've got to speak to yourself like you're already walking in the version of you that's accomplished the vision. You've got to coach yourself, command yourself, correct yourself, not from shame, but from purpose. You look in the mirror and say, "I am focused, I am favored, I am unstoppable, I am a builder of wealth, a distributor of wisdom, a finisher of what I start," and don't just say it once. Say it daily, say it when you feel it, and especially when you don't, because repetition rewires the subconscious. Your brain will resist it at first. You'll feel fake, you'll feel like you're lying, but keep going. Because you're not speaking based on your current facts. We're speaking based on your future truth. That's what faith sounds like. You don't describe your situation, you declare your intention. You speak not as a victim of your past, but as the architect of your future. You don't wait for external results to validate your internal identity. You build the identity and let the results catch up. Make yourself a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Just like you brush your teeth and eat your food, you feed your spirit with intentional language. You cancel every lie that tries to replay itself. You interrupt every negative loop. You stop the spiral with words of power. You remind yourself that you were not created to live beneath your calling. And over time, your inner voice becomes a force of alignment. It starts guiding you toward better choices, greater courage, higher standards. You no longer tolerate relationships, environments, or thoughts that contradict your confession. You begin to see evidence of what you've been declaring. You begin to act with clarity because your words have forged a new level of certainty, and that certainty becomes a magnet for the resources, people, and favor you need. This is not hype, it's alignment. Your mouth is the steering wheel of your mind. And wherever you direct it consistently, your life will eventually follow. Your habits are the system behind your success. And in 2025, if you're going to brainwash yourself for victory, you must master the art of aligning your routines with your results. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. You can have the clearest vision, the strongest affirmations, and the best mentors, but if your daily habits are disorganized, lazy, or inconsistent, you'll sabotage your own momentum. Discipline is not about denying yourself pleasure, it's about designing your life to make success inevitable. What you repeatedly do shapes who you are becoming, and there is no separation between your identity and your behavior. When you consistently show up for your goals, even when you don't feel like it, you begin to reinforce a mindset of reliability, and reliability builds self-respect, and self-respect becomes the foundation of personal power. You cannot expect to live an exceptional life on the back of average routines. You can't pray for abundance and plan for comfort. The people who rise, the ones who break barriers and live boldly, don't do so by accident. They engineer their days to match their destiny. They understand that systems beat willpower. You don't win because you're motivated. You win because your habits are non-negotiable. Motivation is emotional, but systems are structural. So instead of asking, "How do I stay motivated?" ask, "What structure do I need so I can keep moving regardless of how I feel?" That's how champions are built. They don't depend on inspiration. They depend on design. They organize their time, their energy, and their environments in a way that makes success the default setting, not the lucky outcome. Start by examining the first hour of your day. That's not just morning, that's momentum. The way you start is the way you continue. If your morning begins in chaos, reaction, distraction, or confusion, you're training your brain to operate from a place of disorder. But if your morning starts with clarity, silence, gratitude, movement, and focused input, you're setting your mind up to lead rather than follow. High performers don't leave the first part of their day to chance. They own it. They protect it. They script it, because that hour isn't just about productivity. It's about posture. It tells your brain, "I'm in charge today. I'm leading today. I'm acting on purpose today." And that authority spills over into every other area of your life. You no longer live in reaction to life. You live in rhythm with your assignment. Then look at what you do repeatedly, especially when no one's watching. Excellence is not built in the spotlight. It's built in silence. It's built in the late nights when you choose to prepare instead of scroll. It's built in the early mornings when you rise before the world and remind yourself that legacy is more important than leisure. You don't have to be perfect, but you must be consistent. A small act done daily will always beat a big act done occasionally. And the good news is, you don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to upgrade one routine at a time. Swap 1 hour of mindless entertainment for an hour of strategy. Replace one bad habit with a productive one. Reinforce it with repetition until it becomes automatic. Because when you automate greatness, you multiply results without multiplying stress. Design your environment to support your new habits. Set visual reminders. Build systems that remove friction. Surround yourself with people who respect time, who value growth, who don't make you feel guilty for choosing discipline over distraction. Track your progress. Celebrate consistency more than intensity. Let your calendar reflect your commitment. If it's not scheduled, it's not sacred, and sacred things don't get canceled for convenience. They get protected. Your schedule is not a cage, it's a canvas, and every action you take is a stroke in the painting of your future. The more deliberate you are, the clearer that picture becomes, and the clearer it becomes, the more confidence you gain. That confidence compounds into courage. That courage turns into action. And action, repeated through consistent habits, becomes your lifestyle, your legacy, and your leadership if you want to brainwash yourself for success in 2025. Then you must become radically intentional about what you allow into your mind, because your mind is not a garbage bin, it is a garden. Whatever you plant, nourish, and repeat will grow, whether you like it or not. That means you can't afford to passively consume content, conversations, or media that contradict your vision. You are always being programmed by something. Every headline you read, every song you listen to, every post you scroll, every voice you entertain is sowing a seed into your subconscious. The question is not, am I being influenced? The question is who or what is doing the influencing. And if the majority of what enters your mind is rooted in fear, lack, limitation, or drama, then don't be surprised when your thoughts echo those very same patterns, when your energy is drained before the day even starts, when your focus feels scattered, and your confidence feels thin. You've got to protect your input like your future depends on it, because it does. In 2025, we are living in a time of digital overload, where your attention is the most valuable currency. Companies are spending billions just to distract you, divide you, and desensitize you. So if you don't deliberately choose what enters your mind, you will unconsciously absorb the noise of a culture designed to keep you reactive, addicted, and insecure. You've got to decide that your mind is sacred ground. You've got to filter everything through the lens of purpose. You don't listen just because it's trending. You don't watch just because it's popular. You don't engage just because it's entertaining. You train your mind to ask, does this align with where I'm going? Does this elevate my thinking or lower it? Does this inspire action or paralyze me with comparison? And it's not just about avoiding the negative, it's about intentionally flooding your environment with the positive. You want to brainwash yourself, then saturate your life with voices that speak truth, wisdom, and vision. Immerse yourself in content that challenges your comfort zone. Read the books that force you to think bigger. Listen to the mentors who call you higher. Watch the stories of those who overcame the odds. Surround yourself with audio, video, and language that reinforce your identity, not your insecurity. Put it on repeat. Let it play in the background while you drive, while you cook, while you walk. Let it wash over your mind until it drowns out the old programming of limitation. Repetition is not just a learning tool, it's a rewiring mechanism. The more you hear something, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you act on it. The more you act on it, the more it becomes part of your identity. You've also got to curate your relationships. Because input doesn't just come from media, it comes from people. If you spend time around complainers, you'll start to complain. If your circle gossips, fears, or doubts everything, you'll begin to internalize that energy. But if you walk with builders, believers, dreamers, and doers, their mindset will stretch yours. Their conversations will sharpen you. Their example will pull you forward. Your circle is either fueling your fire or fanning your fear. Choose accordingly. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do need to limit the volume of voices that don't carry vision. Every voice carries a vibration, and if that vibration doesn't match your next level, you have every right to mute it without apology and finally become your own source of empowering input. Don't wait for someone else to encourage you. Speak over yourself. Don't wait for the world to validate you. Validate your progress, your effort, your commitment. Start creating more than you consume. Write down your goals daily. Journal your wins. Record affirmations in your own voice. Build a playlist of declarations that remind you who you are. Don't let your mental space be filled by default. Fill it by design. Because when you consistently guard your gates, when you make your mind a sanctuary for growth, when you become intentional about what you let in, you transform your entire environment into a laboratory of belief. And belief is the fuel that turns potential into power. So how do you brainwash yourself for success in 2025? Rewire your belief system, guard your ears and eyes, speak like a creator, not a beggar, live in success every single day, tie your vision to something greater than you. Listen to me. You've got untapped power inside of you. You were never meant to live average. You were created to dominate, to build, to multiply. So if you're ready to wash away the lies and program your mind for victory, then 2025 won't just be your best year, it'll be your breakthrough year. Now, go out there and think, speak, and act like the success you already are.